All right, class. We're going to look at exchange rate today. Okay, we already went into international economics, and exchange rate is one of the most important part here that pops up in the question, and it takes probably the biggest part that you need to know. Okay, exchange rate is basically you can define as a currency that is expressed in another currency. Okay, so it shows a relationship between one currency and the other, and it's not that complicated because all you need to know and all you need to look at is how the market of exchange rate works, the market of the currency, how the demand of one currency relevant to the supply of the other currency. Okay, so I brought up an example here, the relation between US dollars and Australian dollars. Okay, and there are four shifters that you need to know of what impacts the exchange rate market. Okay, the first one is preference and taste. The second one is price level. Third one is income, and the lastly interest rate. Okay, and the reason why these factors can cause a shift in this graphs is because preference and taste. Okay, if a country's preference and taste lies towards another country's goods, well then obviously the demand for that currency will increase because they need that currency to purchase the goods from that country. Okay, and price level. Well, obviously, if a country's goods and services looks relatively cheaper than my own domestic goods and services, then there's a tendency of domestic consumers will go buy the foreign goods instead, where it's cheaper. And income, if a country's income increases, then people will have more disposable income and they're more willing to spend money on the foreign goods as well. And lastly, interest rates. This one is a little bit complicated, but it's not so complicated at all if you look at it in a way that if an interest rate is high in a country, then from the perspective of a country with a relatively low interest rate, they want to get more currency of that country with higher interest rate so that they can buy financial assets and all that kind of stuff for the higher return. And for the higher return, you can certainly attract a lot of foreign people to buy their currency. Okay, so let's look at the example here. The graph is quite important because it gets a little bit tricky here. Okay, so if you look at the exchange rate market for US dollars, okay, US dollars, I want you to carefully look at the demand and supply. Who demands US dollars and who supply the USA dollars? So we're comparing with the Australian dollar exchange rate market. Okay, so who's demanding US dollars here? Well, certainly Americans won't be demanding US dollars, right? It will be Australians that will be demanding US dollars. So it will be demand by Australia. And the supply, who supplies the US dollars? Well, obviously American people supplies it. So the supply will be by the USA. Okay. So let's say on the axis, you need to know that the x-axis we're talking about the quantity of US dollars because it's a US dollar exchange rate market. And the y-axis we have Korean won, Australian dollars over USD. Okay, Australian dollars over USD. So we're looking at how many Australian dollars we need to pay for one USD. Okay, so let's just say that currently the rate is 1 Australian dollars for 1 USD. Okay, we'll just say there's some quantity here. Okay. And it goes for here, same as here, right? And in the Australian dollar market, the x-axis, the quantity will be Australian dollars, and then who demands Australian dollars? It will be America, and who supplies them? It must be Australians who supply the Australian dollars. Okay, so this one's 1 USD for 1 Australian dollars, the same as here. So let's look at how each of the factors shifts the curves here. The first one, preference and taste. If the preference and taste for American-made goods increase, right? Then what will happen? The people from Australia will buy more American goods, and if they want to buy American goods, they need American dollars. Okay, so demand for American dollars will increase. Demand for American dollars will increase, right? And it results in an increase in the American dollars. Okay, so let's say you result in 2 Australian dollars for 1 USD. Okay. So this, you can say how when the value of a currency increases, we call that appreciation. Okay, appreciation. And you can see that if this results, what will happen in the Australian exchange rate market? Well, obviously they will supply more Australian dollars, right? Because they want to buy more American dollars. So the supply will go up for American dollars, right? So then what happened to the Australian currency? The Australian currency decreases, and we call this situation depreciation. When a currency decreases, the value decreases, we call it depreciation. So over here, when the increase is appreciation, and in this kind of situation is depreciation. These are the two key terms that you need to know, okay? And price level, it will be the same. If the price level goes up, then what will happen then? Then probably, if the price level of American goods and services goes up, the demand will probably go down, right? The demand will go down, right? The demand will go down. And because the price level of American goods goes up, the goods from Australia will look relatively cheaper to American consumers. So then what will happen to the demand of Australian dollars? It will go up because American people now want to buy Australian goods. So then it results in a contrary sort of results. Australian dollars will actually appreciate, whereas American dollars will depreciate, right? But the thing that you need to know is the key point here is that whenever a currency's demand goes up, right, there's something that happens to the supply as well. So let's look at an example from here. Let's just say in America, the current interest rate is it's quite unrealistic, but let's say it's 20% return, okay? And Australia is stuck at 5% return. 5% return. So logically speaking, with America with higher interest rate returns, it means that a lot of foreign countries will want to get hold of American currency so they can make investments, right? Because of the higher return rate. So what would happen to the market? Well, if you look at it, because America with high interest rate, the demand will increase, right? Well, let's say demand will increase from here to here. The demand increases. But then what happens to the supply, right? What happens to what American people demand for Australian dollars? Well, no. The demand will definitely decrease, right? It will decrease. And what would happen to the Australian dollars? Australian dollars the supply will increase because Australian people want to get hold of American dollars so they can make investments, right? So the supply will, obviously increase, right? And same for American dollars as well. Since the demand has gone up, what happened to the supply of it? Well, the supply will probably, decrease, right? Because well, if you look in the sense that American people won't be demanding them, right? And then the Australian people that want American dollars will also do the same because not only they want to get hold of it, but it will have a similar effect to the American people themselves because they wouldn't want to go buy Australian dollars anymore, right? Because they have a higher return rate in their own country. So if you look at the relationship, how if the demand goes up, there's an impact on the supply curve as well. Okay, and this relationship between one currency and the other kind of shows you the concept of appreciation, depreciation, and how all these shifters plays a part. Okay, so in another video, I'll look into the details of different type of exchange rate system. There's a floating system and a fixed exchange rate system. That's a different one, and we'll look into that in detail. And that's it for now. Thank you.